Welcome to Hacking the Hustle. This is your host, Benjamin Sklar, and today's guest is Matan Zivek. Matan is the executive director of an incredible Israeli nonprofit called Israel Nature and Heritage Foundation of America. And he's also the head of partnerships for Sapienship. And I met him at the Kalkalis conference in New York City. He seemed like an amazing guy, taking care of a little baby that I related with. So I asked him to be on the podcast today, and he said yes. Thank you so much, Matan. How you doing?
Of course, happy to be here. Thank you for hosting me, and I'm happy to share, whatever you want.
All right, so let's start. Matan, why were you chosen to be Forbes 30 under 30?
Oh wow, what an embarrassing question. I think it was mainly because I founded the organization, and as like a young entrepreneur in the field of like social impact, they thought it's pretty. I have to say that it's pretty rare. Like most of the people that were chosen or listed, they come from the, like, let's say, tech and VC industries, because Forbes, it's a financial newspaper. So they're super like laser focused on revenues, and I'm a little bit like, I'm working in a different field. But on the other hand, they thought that it's pretty cool that we're building those bridges between the US and Israel, to protect nature in Israel and to preserve all historical sites. So the foundation has grown exponentially, like in the past 2.5 years. And I think they thought it is like an impressive initiative. And that's it. Yeah.
Amazing. So tell us, what are you doing? What is your organization?
So we are a US-based nonprofit 501c3. It's like we're very, very young, I would say. So we were established 2.5 years ago, and the organization main goal is to protect 30% of Israel's land, all the places that you're so proud of, and that you keep on like visiting, and the places that you take your kids and family and friends, and you tell them why they are connected to this place, and why those places are a part of their identity. So like the idea behind it is really to make sure that nature and heritage in Israel are being protected. And this whole model was established, like actually was inspired by an American model, because here in the States, you have the National Park Service. And beside the National Park Service, you have the National Park Foundation, which was established, I think, 70 years ago. And today provides a significant support to all national parks in the US. And this is why, like, one of the main reasons you love so much to kind of like travel and explore the US. Everything is super accessible. And in Israel, nature is keep on deteriorating. And we are dealing also with monuments that go back 4,000 years, okay, not 400. And it's like a big mound, layer on layer, where you have 30,000 excavation sites. And it's just, let's say it must be an effort that we all share in order to protect those places. And we're trying to provide this platform for people to participate in this, in the preservation efforts.
Got it. All right, so let's say I gave you $50 million. What would you do with it?
Oh my God, so many things. You don't even know. Like, so it's endless. So there are like two different angles. So No, I will say three, because if I have $15 million, I will say three. So first, there is like the heritage preservation pillar, let's say. The second is the nature conservation, and the third is education. So many of the sites, one of the major problems in Israel is that the stories behind the stones and the stories behind the beautiful nature is not accessible to the public in many ways. And when I say accessible, it can be because of like we literally cannot go there because the place is closed or under maintained in a way that you cannot just like get there, or that you just like you have never heard about it, so you won't go there. So one of like the allocations that I think that we should have with this with such an amount, I would say that I will allocate it towards education and making the sites accessible also for like people with disabilities, from like many, like the variety is huge. So this is first, and raising awareness to nature conservation, because this is, for example, these days we're building a new visitor center in the center of the country for it's like a new visitor center for marine life education. It will be located at the Sea Turtle Rescue Center, which, you know, Israel has a significant role in maintaining the sea turtles population in Israel, but the public has no place where you can go to and learn why it's important to preserve our sea, why it's important to make sure that we're not, I don't know, just polluting everything, why it's important for them when they, like, what do they do when they see that, like, an injured sea turtle on the beach, and it happens a lot. So this place that I told you, like, will be located in the center of the country, will provide this access that we're looking for. And yeah, and that's, and in regard to like heritage preservation, I told you, like, the answer will be long, because it's we have a lot to do with this kind of money. For example, heritage preservation, we're working these days to establish and open up to the public new national parks. Okay, for example, Susita, it's a magnificent Roman Byzantine city on top of a hill next to the Sea of Galilee, that no one can get to because it's closed. And soon I hope that it will be open for the public. But beside that, we have, you know, the Jewish, for example, the Jewish heritage is located in the Galilee, and we have so many places that they were not restored. Okay, with, like, archaeologists found 100 synagogues from the Talmudic period that are just like lying there on the floor. People are smuggling the stones. No one is taking care of them. So we're trying to restore them one by one. So this is another example of what we're gonna do with the funds. So I have many ideas. Thank you for the question.
So a lot of my listeners are young Jewish professionals who live in New York or Tel Aviv or LA, Houston, friends of mine who are Jewish and my age, in their early 30s. How can they help? Besides, okay, let's say they don't donate. How can they help with sweat equity? What can they do to help preserve Israel's nature?
So there are a couple of ways of doing that. We also, you don't need to donate all the time. Many people, they volunteer. And we always on the search of more volunteers and people who can help us with research, people who can help us with like grant writing, people that can, or like some of the people, they live in Israel. Okay, so they are working. Some of our interns, for example, they're working to make sure that our projects are being executed, and this is something, you know, for a new nonprofit, this is very important, especially like the research part. For those who want to really get their hands dirty, we also provide volunteering like experiences to people. So for example, the Sea Turtle Rescue Center or the Monkey Sanctuary, which is one of the largest monkey sanctuaries in the world, and is based in Israel, but people don't know about it. They have this like program when you can come and volunteer for like 3 months, but it's not like a one-time thing, okay? Because when you're working with animals, you need to be trained, you need to understand what you're doing, and we try to connect people from around the world to those places so they can support them.
What's something about Israel that you understand or see that you think others don't?
A positive one or a negative one?
Both.
Both. So one, I think that I would say that sometimes people don't think that Israelis care a lot. I think that Americans, when they come to Israel, they see a lot of like litter, okay, and they think that like the awareness of littering is like it's pretty low, and people they don't really care, and it's always like this. I hear this complaint, like people complain like many times, but it's not true. And I have to say that, of course, that in some communities it's harder to kind of like to develop this environmental awareness, but in large, people are very conscious about like the environment and making sure that we live in a safe and healthy world. And in Israel, you can find different initiatives also in the tech industry where people like working hard to find solution to tackle climate change, or entrepreneurs that, for example, we support. One of our projects is called Hybulance, where Israelis, it's based on 1,000 volunteers that rescue 6,000 injured animals on an annual basis. And I think this exactly like reflects or indicates the Israeli mentality and how they kind of like they're very connected with nature and also with one another. So this is something that I think that many Americans, you know, they assume one thing, but I wouldn't say it's the opposite, but I would say that I have some caveat about it. So yeah, I think that Israel is taking the right direction in this regard, but of course that there is just like a lot of work to do, and we must bear in mind that it will never be top prioritization for like the Israeli government, for example. This is a question that I get a lot. And why? Because of many reasons. And one of them is security. Mm-hmm. And security is the top again, and which is okay, but we as like the people who love those places and cherish them, and they are part of our identity as well. So it's not only like the archaeological aspect of it, it's not only like the environmental aspect, it's also like we have like an identity component and also an economic one, because what we're doing by developing those sites, we're creating new economic engines across Israel, okay, mainly in more like remote places. So this is something, this is a very important component in what we're doing. So yeah, that's it.
I saw on your LinkedIn that it says that you're the head of partnerships for Sapien Live. And it has to do with Yuval Noah Harari, who wrote the book Sapiens, which of course is extremely famous. I read a part of it. So how'd you connect with Yuval, and what is your role with that?
It was with Sapienship. It was a project that I've done for them. I collaborated with them. Actually, it was not part of like what I do on a daily basis. It was more like a consulting thing, and And we were working on a beautiful initiative that Sapienship is pushing forward. And I hope that one day you will be able to see it.
Very nice. All right. So before I let you go, Matan, a few more questions. How can people contact you if they want to reach out?
They can contact me via email. My email, you can share my email with the world, and I'm happy. I'm pretty responsive. So
okay. And in one sentence, why should someone help your organization?
Because we protect the irreplaceable. Okay, we protect the irreplaceable places that they all want to have in their life. So this is like the main reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And this is the main reason why I think that people should support it, because once it's gone, it's gone.
Sababa. All right, last question, Matan. And it's my signature question that I ask all my guests. If there was one thing you could do to improve this world, what would you do and why?
Wow, what a big question. Benjamin, I had to prepare for it.
Just so you know, everybody, Matan reached out to me. We were supposed to have a call, and last second I said, let's make this a podcast. So he didn't even know he was getting into a podcast until seconds before I clicked record. Disclaimer. So
but I'm happy to participate. So can you repeat the question? I'm sorry. Now
if there was one thing you could do to improve this world, what would you do and why?
Yeah, I would like to reduce, like, I would say, ignorance of people about each other. I think it's like the key for so many things. And at the end of the day, that's what we all strive for like peaceful life, living peacefully with our neighbors everywhere. It can be in our town, in our country, in our region. And I think that this is a key component of doing that. And it can, and then we can, tackle all the other things like climate change or everything, because before doing that, it will be very hard.
I completely agree. Ignorance is not bliss.
No.
Well, thank you, Matan, for hopping on the show today. I wish you all the best. And a shout out for your organization, which is called the incredible Israel Nature and Heritage Foundation of America, INHFA. You got that, guys?
Yes, and we're gonna rebrand. Actually, we're working on our rebranding, so stay tuned.
Sounds good.
But thank you.
Litraut. Bye-bye.